Do you want to level up your time management skills so you can be more intentional about your life? I recently left a high-paying salary job to launch my own startup, and I learned how critical it is for me to manage my own time, because as soon as I didn't have a calendar and meetings and other people around me all the time, it was like super critical for me to stay accountable to myself. So I've been thinking a lot lately about how do I put together like a good week, because a successful life is built a week at a time. And I came up with 3 big pillars that I use that I want to share with you today to help build those successful weeks so you can be excellent with your time management and purposeful with your life. The first pillar is milestones. It's so important for us to know where we're going, because if we don't have that figured out, we might end up somewhere else. That's a very terrible version of the Yogi Berra quote. A meaningful life has purpose. We all are searching for purpose. We want to know where we're trying to go. And we have an inkling of what that might be. Some of us are more clear than others. I wish I had more clarity in my own life, but like we're always just kind of moving forward through time. Building a strong week on a set of milestones helps you anchor the direction that you're going. If you're trying to drive from San Diego to New York, the path there could go so many different ways. There's a lot of different ways to get to New York from San Diego, but New York is the destination. Having a set of milestones every week is kind of like setting your New York. How you get there doesn't matter as much as finally arriving at New York. A lot of people look at their week and they're like, I did a lot of stuff, but did you get closer to New York, or did you just kind of keep busy? And that keeping busy is just output without aligning it with outcomes. So identifying the milestones of your week is really important. And these milestones don't have to be world-changing things. In fact, they probably shouldn't be. I would say that success is built with little bits of wins stacked on each other for a long amount of time, just being consistent. That's why building a strong, purposeful life happens a week at a time, because you just got to stack on a good week after good week after good week after good week, and finally, you're closer to where you want to be. To craft a good milestone, don't pay as much attention to the output of what you're doing, but rather the outcomes of what you're doing. For example, you might say, I want to write 5 blog posts. That's an excellent milestone, but the outcome of that milestone might be, I want to drive a couple extra people to my website or my blog or some new subscribers. Strong milestones frame your week. They help you say yes to certain things and no to others when those things don't align. The second pillar is systems. Now, systems is a word that a lot of people use all the time. Like systems this, systems that. It's a little confusing. So let me break down what I mean when I say systems. Systems to me are like repeatable tasks that you do every single week or on some sort of schedule. Some systems under this definition might be budgeting, planning your week, or even grocery shopping. We all do that kind of the same way every single time we go into the store. You usually go in the same door, make the same route around the store, and check out and leave. Systems fuel your path to the milestones. It's less about driving the car, it's less about the destination, and it's more about decisions about how often do we want to change drivers? How often should we fuel up? When do we want to stop at this city versus that? Systems kind of allow you to systematize the way that you approach that. So here's some systems that I'm using now that I'm launching my own business that I found to be incredibly valuable. First one is themed days. I'll take every day of the week and I'll say on that day of the week, I want to try my best to focus on a certain part of my brain. For example, Mondays might be a day that I work on content creation. Tuesdays might be a day that I write code for my business. Wednesdays might be a day that I spend all day doing lead generation, talking to customers, trying to find new people. Maybe Thursday's a community engagement day where I do social media and I kind of take part in the community, answer questions, that kind of thing. The point of theme days is to try to make the day as efficient as possible so you don't have to switch contexts doing a bunch of different stuff throughout that entire day. Another system that I use weekly, and I talk about on this channel quite a bit, is my planning process. How do I plan my week? What do I do on Sunday nights when I sit down and I look at what I want to get done? I did a whole video about it. You can watch that here. So I won't rehash it here, but like weekly planning is a critical part of building a successful week. Not too surprising. The third system I use is having the same morning ritual and the same evening ritual. Now, there's a lot of people online that talk about, cold showers and going for runs and meditation. And like, honestly, that's not for me. I'm just really not that motivated to do that. But I do the same thing every morning. It's not sexy. It's a pretty basic routine. I get up, I have water, I take my vitamins, I make coffee, I sit down, I do work. And at night, I kind of do a little bit of like preparation for the next day, but it's super simple. All I do is decide what's the first thing I'm gonna do when I sit down that morning. I already have my daily plan kind of mapped out, but like, what order am I gonna do things in? And at night, I just determine what it is so that when I wake up, maybe even in my sleep, I've already figured out how I want to approach this thing. Which kind of leads me to my third pillar. And the third pillar is momentum. Having great milestones having cool systems, they don't matter if you don't actually get anything done. And that's where I want to talk about momentum. Productivity in motion tends to stay in motion. It follows the laws of physics. And beside that, I have kind of 3 major ways to prove that to you. First is that throughout the day, your willpower is gonna go down. Everything you wanna do during the day takes a little bit of willpower out of you, a little energy away from you, and you have less of a reservoir to pull from at the end of the day. You know, we go from being awake to being tired. And you know, there's a little fluctuation in between. You can eat to try to keep your energy up and all that. But like, holistically, you're gonna get more tired throughout the day. And like a boulder going down a hill, it's important to preserve the momentum as you're working through your systems, as you're working on hitting those milestones throughout the week. And that's why I mentioned that I have the same morning routine and the same evening routine, because those are habits. When I'm doing that at the same time, same with systems, they help preserve energy, because in your mind, they kind of automate these activities that you do all the time. My Sunday night planning ritual is pretty thoughtless in a way, even though it's a very thoughtful activity. I sit down and I do it the same way every single time. So it's a very efficient way to spend my time, and I have a large payoff from that. So building strong habits and building strong routines into your days and weeks helps to preserve that willpower so you can use that for the other activities in your day. The second law is saying that time management, as important as it is, we have to recognize it's a very selfish activity. In order to manage your own time, you have to make pretty strong decisions, because if you don't manage your time, then the environment and the people around you will manage it for you. So time management being selfish means saying no to certain things. I think it also means relocating activities in your day. Like if someone's like, hey, you want to go hang out, and hanging out's like fun and necessary, but maybe that hanging out is going to drain your energy, and like, you know, when you're done with that, you're just going to not want to do anything. Well, if you have a loaded day or you have some important things to do, you don't have to necessarily say no to that, but like work intentionally about relocating it to a point in the day when you've already accomplished what you need, or you've given yourself enough time to get enough things done so that you can take part in that activity and not worry about it destroying the momentum that you have in motion. So that's it, milestones, systems, and momentum. Set the goals, figure out the tactics, and then just go and do it. And make sure that you give yourself the best foot forward. Anyways, that's all I have. I hope some of this was helpful, useful, insightful, entertaining, whatever it is. My name is Kevin. Thanks for visiting my channel, and I will see you in the next video.